The phone rings, a fixer answers. And on the other end, Blake Lively, one of Hollywood's biggest stars. She doesn't know the FBI is listening. She doesn't know her carefully controlled world is about to implode, but that's exactly what's happening. This isn't fiction. This isn't a screenplay. This is real. The FBI wiretapped a phone call between Blake Lively and one of the most feared fixers in the entertainment industry, and what they heard chilling, phrases like "we can control this, start locking down exposure, identify the leaks." It sounds like dialogue from a political thriller, but it's real life. And it's coming from an actress once considered the picture of elegance and poise. Now Blake isn't the protagonist anymore. She's under surveillance, possibly under investigation. And the fixer who was supposed to clean it all up, they may be the one who brings her entire world crashing down. What was she hiding? Who else was involved? Why did the FBI tap the line in the first place? This isn't just another scandal. This is the beginning of a federal-level reckoning. In the next few minutes, we'll take you deep inside the court documents, the calls, the redacted details, and the explosive implications. Hollywood's cleanest image may be permanently stained, and the fixer's voice on that call may become Blake Lively's final undoing. This isn't a movie, but the ending may be far more brutal. It was only a matter of time in the ever-evolving web of Hollywood scandal, legal drama, and elite-level damage control. A new and deeply unsettling chapter has just emerged, and it has rocked the entertainment industry to its core. According to newly unsealed documents, the FBI has intercepted a phone call between none other than Blake Lively and one of Hollywood's most notorious fixers, a call that is now raising serious questions about just how deep the cover-up goes and who might be next to fall. This isn't just another day in the tabloids. This is federal. This is serious, and it could change everything we thought we knew about the Blake Lively case. The public is still reeling from the cascade of legal controversies surrounding Lively, especially in light of her now infamous feud with Justin Baldoni, a battle that has already exposed alleged manipulations, media intimidation, and a PR machine so relentless it would make even the savviest political strategist blush. But now the stakes have officially been raised. Federal-level involvement, FBI wiretaps, and unsealed call logs. We're no longer talking about rumors. We're talking about evidence, and the implications are devastating. Let's break this down. The intercepted call reportedly took place several weeks before the explosive court motion that first accused Lively's team of attempting to intimidate witnesses and suppress exculpatory evidence in the Baldoni case. According to insiders familiar with the documents, the fixer on the other end of the line has been tied to other high-profile Hollywood crises in the past, sweeping up scandals, shutting down stories, paying off insiders, and threatening anyone who dared to challenge the narrative. Their involvement alone suggests that Lively's team was not just scrambling for damage control. They were preparing for all-out war. So what exactly was said on the call? While parts remain redacted for legal reasons, sources confirm that Lively discussed strategies for limiting narrative exposure, managing press leaks, and most chilling of all, identifying potential liabilities inside and outside the firm. Legal analysts are interpreting this as a euphemism for silencing potential whistleblowers, managing informants, or possibly interfering with testimony. And it gets worse. The fixer is heard saying, "We can contain this. We've done it before." Done it before with whom? How many scandals have been buried under this so-called containment? The call raises an even more unsettling question. Why was the FBI even listening in? What tipped them off, and why now? According to legal experts, a federal wiretap requires a judge's approval and compelling evidence suggesting that a crime may be underway or that the parties involved are obstructing justice. That means Blake Lively didn't just end up on the FBI's radar by accident. Someone on the inside had to alert them. Could this mean there's a whistleblower already cooperating, someone close to Lively's team who decided enough was enough? Naturally, the fallout has been swift. Social media exploded the moment the documents hit. On Twitter, the hashtag FBI Intercept trended for hours as users speculated about what else might be revealed in the coming weeks. One viral post reads, "Blake Lively really tried to Hollywood her way out of this, and now the FBI is involved. This is next-level corruption." Another pointedly asked, "Where is Ryan Reynolds in all this? Is he implicated? Or is he the next to jump ship?" Ryan, for his part, has remained silent, a deafening silence that many now interpret as strategic distancing. It's a sharp contrast to his usual image as Hollywood's funny, affable good guy. Behind the scenes, sources suggest there's panic, meetings are being held, damage control is underway. And according to one insider close to the legal team, Lively has gone radio silent, declining to speak with several advisors who were previously involved in her PR defense. But the silence isn't calming anything. If anything, it's inflaming public suspicion. Commentators and journalists have begun to raise serious concerns. What else are they hiding? What other calls exist? Was this the only conversation the FBI tapped? Or was it part of a longer-term surveillance effort, and if so, who else was? Recorded. The fixer's name alone has caused tremors in the industry, because this individual has been linked to several other controversies in the past, including a major #me to cover-up and multiple celebrity NDA arrangements designed to hide scandals ranging from affairs to criminal allegations. What we're seeing now is a rare but unmistakable convergence of three deadly forces: fame, corruption, and federal power, and Blake Lively is now caught squarely in the middle. The unsealed call is more than just a legal blow. It's a narrative-shifting revelation that places her at the center of a potentially criminal effort to manipulate the judicial process, intimidate key players, and deceive the public. Hollywood insiders are reportedly rattled. One producer who asked to remain anonymous said, "This is the kind of thing you always hear about happening behind the scenes. Powerful people using fixers to bury dirt, rewrite stories, clean up messes. But the fact that it's been caught on tape by the feds, that's a whole new game." Another director bluntly stated, "She's done. Blake's done. There's no recovering from this if it keeps unraveling, and it likely will unravel." Legal experts now expect subpoenas to begin flying not just toward Lively's team, but potentially toward media outlets, PR firms, and yes, even other celebrities who may have coordinated narratives or provided misleading statements on her behalf. Already fans are circulating past interviews trying to parse out who was in on it, who lied for her, and who may have been manipulated into taking her side. The irony in all this: for years, Blake Lively was seen as one of Hollywood's untouchables, elegant, clean-cut, unproblematic, the kind of star who brands loved to work with, who producers saw as a safe bet. But that image has now collapsed. The fixer's call changed everything. The idea that Lively was personally coordinating with someone known in legal circles for burying scandals suggests a level of desperation and control far beyond what her team initially admitted. And then there's the moral question. How much did Blake know? Was she merely following her lawyer's advice? Or was she actively directing the cover-up? If future releases reveal more calls, texts, or emails confirming that she was spearheading a narrative to protect herself at the expense of others, including Baldoni, including former staffers, and even including friends like Taylor Swift, the backlash could escalate into something far more destructive than just career damage. And we're already seeing signs of that backlash. Swifties' longtime loyalists of Taylor Swift are demanding answers, especially after reports that Lively had allegedly thrown Taylor under the bus. In one of her legal responses to the Baldoni case, fans are outraged, wondering how far the betrayal truly went. One viral post summed it up best: Taylor gave her everything: support, friendship, credibility. And Blake turned around and got the FBI on her tail, insane. This isn't just one scandal. This is the door opening to something much larger. A systemic exposure of how Hollywood has operated in the shadows for decades, using fixers, leveraging power, and controlling perception. Now with federal eyes watching and the public demanding transparency, the old rules may no longer apply. And as for Blake Lively, she may still be smiling in press photos, but behind closed doors, the walls are closing in. The fixer she called was supposed to protect her, but now that call may be the very thing that takes her down. So where does this leave us? For one, this isn't just a PR crisis, it's a legal crisis. And it's the kind of crisis that doesn't just get solved with a publicist statement, a well-timed paparazzi walk, or even a teary-eyed interview. The call proves that Blake wasn't just passively reacting to the legal threats against her. She was strategizing, coordinating, and mobilizing her own counterattack behind the scenes. And if even a fraction of what was said during that call is deemed to be criminal in nature, for example, attempting to destroy evidence, intimidate witnesses, or tamper with testimony, then Blake Lively could be facing much more than just career embarrassment. She could be looking at federal charges. Legal commentators wasted no time dissecting the potential implications. MSNBC's legal analyst described the intercepted call as the kind of thing that turns a civil defamation suit into a criminal obstruction investigation. Over at CNN, one panel even speculated whether Blake's fixer might agree to cooperate with authorities in exchange for immunity, which would mean even more damning recordings or files might be coming. And over at social media platforms like TikTok, creators with millions of followers are going viral, breaking down the timeline, speculating about Blake's future and naming names. This isn't some fringe rumor anymore. This is the mainstream. conversation, and the consequences are already rippling across the entertainment world. Several brand partners have reportedly gone on pause with Lively, including one luxury fashion house that had planned to unveil her as the face of their new global campaign this fall. Industry sources now say the campaign is delayed indefinitely. Even worse, some industry insiders are questioning whether streaming platforms and studios will back out of ongoing or upcoming projects involving her name. A Netflix executive off the record hinted that risk assessment is now being applied to all projects involving talent named in federal inquiries. Risk assessment. That's Hollywood code for we're preparing to pull the plug. And what about Ryan Reynolds? While he hasn't commented publicly, the pressure on him is intensifying. Not only is he Blake's husband and longtime PR ally, but his own public persona has taken a massive hit by association. Up until recently, he was considered bulletproof in Hollywood, beloved by fans, studios, and brands alike. But now the comment sections on his posts are flooded with questions. What did you know? Are you involved? Why aren't you speaking up? Even if Ryan had no direct involvement in the call, silence doesn't equal distance in the public's mind, and his brand, like hers, could soon face backlash that no fixer or even the FBI can suppress. The entertainment press is having a field day with this. Page 6 ran the headline, FBI call rocks Blake Lively, Hollywood turns cold. TMZ posted a timeline of all known contacts between Lively's team and top crisis PR firms. The Daily Mail dug into the fixer's past, connecting them to controversial settlements involving several other A-listers. And Variety published a chilling analysis of how this moment represents a tectonic shift in how celebrity scandals are handled in the post-#MeToo and post-Weinstein era. We are witnessing the collapse of the cover-up culture in real time. The article read, "No longer is it just about bad behavior, now it's about systems of silence and power being dismantled under the public eye." But what might be the most explosive revelation yet is the alleged mention of journalist lists during the call. According to the unsealed documents, Blake and the fixer allegedly discussed red flag media names, reporters, and platforms who were considered a threat to the narrative they were trying to control. If true, this could mean that Blake's team actively attempted to surveil or even suppress press coverage, a potentially unconstitutional maneuver. If it involved threats, coercion, or blacklisting, First Amendment watchdog groups are now reportedly preparing statements, and at least one independent journalist has come forward claiming they were warned by a Lively rep not to run a story or risk being sued. So again, what are they hiding? The deeper we look, the darker it gets. The fixer on the call, according to multiple outlets, has ties to 2 offshore accounts used to move hush money in previous celebrity scandals, and now that financial investigators are reportedly joining the case, the paper trail may reveal whether similar transactions were arranged in the Lively Baldoni saga, or worse, whether potential witnesses were paid to stay quiet. Suddenly, the narrative isn't just about gossip or PR spin, it's about financial misconduct, fraud, and calculated deception at the highest levels. And here's where it gets even murkier. Rumors are swirling that another celebrity, someone shockingly close to Lively and Reynolds, might also be on one of the tapes. We're talking a list. Red carpet royalty. Someone who has gone out of their way to defend Lively publicly but now appears to have been on one of the FBI monitored calls themselves. The mere possibility of this has caused a frenzy online as users scramble to piece together who it could be. Think brunch photos. Think matching vacation homes. One tweet cryptically read, suggesting the involvement of someone from Lively's inner circle, possibly a best friend, possibly a co-star, maybe even someone like Taylor Swift. Could this be why Swift has gone eerily quiet? Could the strain in their friendship, now visible to even casual fans, be tied to something far deeper than just personal betrayal? There's growing speculation that Taylor, long known for her meticulous PR strategy, may have already distanced herself after learning about the fixer's role and the legal maneuverings Blake engaged in behind the scenes. If Taylor was ever dragged into one of those conversations, even tangentially, the blowback could be enormous for everyone involved. And as this story escalates, public sentiment is shifting rapidly. The old narrative of Blake Lively as the poised, polished Hollywood sweetheart is dissolving under the weight of these revelations. In its place, a far more complex and controversial figure is emerging, one accused not just of poor judgment, but of knowingly engaging in a systemic campaign to control outcomes, bury the truth, and punish dissent. And we haven't even gotten to the big question, what happens next? That's where the story is heading next. And in the final part of the script, we'll cover the possible legal fallout if the FBI's recordings are entered into evidence, who the Hollywood fixer really is, and their shocking client history, what this means for other celebrities connected to Lively, the growing pressure for Ryan Reynolds to testify, and why Hollywood might be preparing to cut Blake loose for good. Let's pick up where we left off with the looming question of what happens next, and how this might destroy more than just Blake Lively's public image, as the shockwaves from the FBI's wiretap interception reverberate through the industry. Legal experts are zeroing in on one thing: evidence admissibility. The intercepted call is not just scandalous, it's potentially actionable if prosecutors deem that the conversation reveals attempts to obstruct justice, intimidate witnesses, or fabricate public narratives. It could be introduced in civil or even criminal proceedings. And that means Blake Lively may not just be at risk of losing a case. She could be facing brand new charges altogether: obstruction, witness tampering, conspiracy. Depending on how far this web of coordination stretches and how deeply this fixer was embedded in the legal strategy, Blake could find herself under criminal investigation, not just in civil court. And federal prosecutors don't play around, especially when public trust is on the line. The FBI doesn't intercept Hollywood phone calls lightly. They knew something, or someone tipped them off. And that leads us to the biggest question nobody in Hollywood wants to say out loud. Who flipped? Because for the FBI to be listening, and someone had to cooperate, someone close, someone inside. An assistant, a legal aide, a PR contact. With second thoughts, it's clear someone broke ranks. And now there's panic among everyone who's ever been on a call, in a room, or on a text thread with Blake or her team during the height of the Baldoni legal battle. And then there's the fixer. For years, they've operated in the shadows, sweeping up everything from cheating scandals to drug busts to quiet out-of-court settlements. But this is different. This time, the fixer is part of the story. Front and center, their name is now in FBI records. Their voice is in evidence. And insiders are saying they're scared. One source said plainly they'll cut a deal. They always do. Which means if this fixer turns over other communications, text, emails, wire transfers, this case could explode tenfold. And yes, the FBI reportedly has more than just this one call. According to court filings, multiple dates are listed under the same surveillance order. Translation: the feds were listening for a while and likely gathered a lot more than what's been made public. That includes call logs, locations, burner phone activity, encrypted message traffic, and more. In a town where perception is everything, the idea that agents were quietly building a case while A-listers laughed on yachts and posed on red carpets is chilling. Hollywood is now officially on edge. There's been a noticeable chill around Blake's inner circle. Several friends and acquaintances have reportedly gone no contact. People who once shared red carpets and interviews with her are now distancing themselves. One actor who starred with her in a recent film has already scrubbed Instagram posts mentioning her. Another has allegedly instructed their publicist to decline all future invites if she's on the guest list. This is cancellation at an elite level, not because of an online mob, but because the legal heat is real and the public isn't backing off either. TikTok has become a forensic battleground, with creators analyzing the tone, cadence, and implied meanings of the intercepted call based on redacted summaries. A viral trend emerged where users tried to translate the coded language used during the fixer's conversation with lively terms like containment, diversion, legacy preservation, and narrative engineering, all euphemisms they believe for silencing, distracting, and hiding. There's a reckoning brewing, not just for Lively but for how this industry operates when it thinks no one is watching. And then comes the growing demand: subpoena Ryan Reynolds. That's right, fans, legal commentators, and even a few journalists are now publicly calling for Reynolds to be deposed or questioned. Why? Because he's been part of Blake's PR push for years. He's promoted her legal claims, defended her in interviews, and been present for strategy meetings. The public wants to know, was he just a supportive spouse? Or was he also involved in crafting the stories they wanted the media to tell? And make no mistake, if prosecutors even think he was in contact with the fixer, they can and likely will pull his phone records. This isn't a gossip war anymore, it's about obstruction, and anyone involved can be questioned. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, who's been dragged through the mud for over a year, is quietly watching this all unfold. His team hasn't commented yet on the unsealed call, but sources say there's a quiet confidence among his legal circle. After all, this kind of revelation supports exactly what he claimed all along, that he was being targeted, misrepresented, and silenced. If anything, this moment may be the final pivot that swings public opinion and maybe even courtroom sympathy fully in his favor. And what of the other potential victims, the ones who were shut down, threatened, mocked, or coerced behind the scenes? It's believed several have already contacted legal representation following the release of the intercepted call. One anonymous source told The Wrap that they're now ready to testify because they finally see that the truth is winning. And that could open the floodgates to more revelations, more evidence, and even more lawsuits. Not just against Lively, but against any publication, studio, or brand that enabled the cover-up. Because make no mistake, this isn't just about a phone call. This is about the entire ecosystem of protection, privilege, and power that allowed someone like Blake Lively, America's sweetheart, to allegedly coordinate with a criminal fixer. While keeping the public blissfully unaware, this is about the system breaking open. And once that happens, there's no putting the secrets back in the vault. The studios know it, the agents know it, and now the public knows it too. And maybe that's why we're finally seeing cracks not just in Blake's reputation, but in the entire machine. This fixer call has become a symbol, a moment, a turning point, and in the days ahead the pressure will only mount. Pressure on prosecutors to investigate deeper. Pressure on journalists to report without fear. Pressure on brands to cut ties. And pressure on the elite to decide, do they go down with her or do they run while they still can? In the end, this could be the most important Hollywood story in years, not because it's scandalous, but because it exposes what happens when the rules of fame, money, and power are finally challenged by accountability. And as for Blake Lively, the voice on that call may haunt her forever. The attempt to control the story may have become the story itself. And the fixer she called in desperation, they may be the very person who ends her career.